My name is Sean Chapin, and I am a gay man here in California. We recently just passed the Fair Education Act, which ensures that LGBT history is respectfully taught in our schools. And those who oppose this law have been gathering signatures on petitions to try to repeal this law on the June 2012 ballot, kinda like how Prop 8 took away marriage from gay couples here in the state a few years ago. Well, they have until October 12th to turn in their signatures, and they have been going to such extreme lengths as to lie to try to get those signatures, which is actually a misdemeanor offense in this state. And that should tell you the frightening amount of hatred that's fueling their agenda to vilify and persecute LGBT people. But this was evident as soon as the Family Research Council joined this effort, and they recently interviewed a number of different families to try to cast a demonizing shadow on the LGBT community. Well, it's time to turn on the light and show the real truth behind our family values.
Our son Jacob was going into kindergarten, and he came home with a diversity book bag. And in the diversity book bag was a book entitled Who's in a Family by Robert Scutch, and that introduces children to same-sex households.
The only difference is we're the same gender. We love our kids the same, we cook dinner the same, we
send them to bed at the same time.
We go to gymnastics and go to piano and go to soccer, just like any other family would.
Back in March of this year, our son came home Friday afternoon and bounded in the front door and said, "Mom, Dad, guess what? Our teacher read us the funniest book. It was so silly. It was about a prince who was getting married, but he didn't marry a princess. He married a prince."
Another family looking in on us, I don't think they'd find it silly. I think they'd look at it and be just like any other family that they would watch.
Is your papa silly?
That afternoon, we sent the teacher an email message. The teacher called back and said that yes, it was a book about two princes who got married. King and King. It's a story that introduces the idea of men having a romantic relationship and getting married. We were shocked.
And your son is how old?
He's 7 years old, in second grade.
And they read this book to him?
Yes, in the formal classroom setting, with his teacher as an authority figure presenting this concept as something that is good and right and the way things should be.
The preschool that our boys go to has been very supportive, not only from the school administration, but from the other parents, from the children that are there as well. They've even requested that we bring in books that talk about same-sex families and family diversity. And so we've really had the opportunity to take that in there and help educate the other children that, family's a family. Just it's all based on love. It could be two mommies, it could be two daddies, it could be mommy and a daddy, one mommy, one daddy. But if you've got a parent that loves you, you're a family.
After the diversity book bag came home, we realized that the intention of the administrators and teachers was to affirm these relationships and gay marriage in the minds of children.
There are differences out there, and there's no reason to be hateful or angry at differences. That's something to embrace and celebrate.
Yeah, and if there's any parent out there, because I've heard the concern that, how am I going to explain this to my 7-year-old or to my 5-year-old? It's like, there's really nothing to explain. You just tell them, listen, these two people love each other, and they happen to be two women, or they happen to be two men, and that's it. And it's as simple as that. And if you are afraid of such an explanation, or if you're afraid of the acceptance of that, then maybe you are reflecting on your own issues and your own insecurities, huh?
When we went into the school, what we requested is parental notification when these issues are brought up by adults within the school, and the option to opt our child out of this type of indoctrination.
Personally, I think it's sad because you're asking the school not to teach a portion of their curriculum to your students. So be like if I had my son in school and I elected for them not to teach him chemistry. It's going to put my child at a disadvantage, and I hate to see that happen.
We want to raise our children to know God, and God has blessed us with the sacred responsibility to raise them for Him, to know Him, and to know His truth.
The ultimate motive is to try to make LGBT people as invisible as possible. It's kind of the civilian version of don't ask, don't tell.
Personally, I think this is their politically correct way of advocating hate. I think,
Ignorance has always been,
and fear. They always resort to fear.
and I hope that the citizens of California don't fall for what I see to be the same hate tactics that were used to pass Prop 8. I really hope that the LGBT community realizes how important an issue this is and really gets mobilized behind it, because it's really a matter of civil rights at the end, and we can't just be passive observers with this. We need to get involved. We need to be out in the streets. We need to be visible, and we need to be vocal.
And we can do that if people like you and me come out and stand up across California.